Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a real honor for me to be with the Colombian American Association. And I have to say it's an honor because I had the chance to be with you 2 years ago with President Iván Duque in a very special meeting. I remember that meeting. Now I'm coming back for this seminar 2 years later. I just want to say also hello to Mrs. Stephanie Younger-Mote, President of the Colombian American Association. Also to Alberto Bernal, moderator of this webinar, a very close friend of mine. To Paola Garcia, Vice President of ProColombia, and to all the businessmen and businesswomen gathered here today at the CAA. I have to say that in addition to my view that it's an honor to be with you, I want to apologize because I was supposed to be with you in this meeting. However, I was invited to a special debate, a very sensible debate at the Congress. So I was invited 2 days ago. So now I have to go there at the same time. I have to be there. As you know, as members of the cabinet, when you are invited by the Congress to a debate, you have to go, you must go. So that's the reason why I'm not with you. I would like to be with you in this meeting. So I decided to have this video and to tell you about what I wanted to discuss with all of you today. 1 year ago, we were telling the investors community from all around the world how successfully we were confronting the change of the page of Colombia. As you know, President Duque is leading the country from the page of violence, terrorism, to a new page, to the page of investment, entrepreneurship, innovation. And things were on the right track. By 2019, we were the country with the highest growth on GDP in Latin America compared to similar countries. Even in the first 3 months of 2020, we were also the country with the highest growth on GDP compared to any other country in Latin America similar to Colombia. By the end of last year, with this good news, we were launching a new fiscal reform. A fiscal reform which was coherent with the idea of a pro-business country, a pro-private initiative country. We were having record numbers in our history on tourism, service exports, agro exports, commerce at the local markets, growth on foreign direct investment. However, something unexpected in the world appeared, COVID-19. That doesn't mean that we have lost the path. That only means that now we needed to use maybe our most powerful tool and characteristic of being Colombians, resilience. We are probably confronting the most difficult time in our lives. Coronavirus has changed the world, our plans and our actions. To deal with it, we have used one of those characteristics, as I said before, resilience, characteristics of being Colombian. What do I mean by resilience? Resilience is the way that allows us to reinvent our companies, to reinvent our economy. For example, using protocols of biosecurity. Resilience also means to allow us to recover and mitigate the impact of the COVID. And that means implementing more than 170 actions. But resilience means also to overcome, to move towards a better normality. However, overcome supposes to be confident on what we have attained until today. And I am saying this to claim that even in the middle of the pandemic, Colombia is still a country that is a land of opportunities. It doesn't mean that we don't recognize problems or challenges, which, by the way, imply a higher commitment with Colombia. But why Colombia is a land of opportunities? It's still a land of opportunities. First of all, because we don't have that false dilemma between health or life or the economy or employment. Of course, life is always most and more important. Without life, you don't have economy. But at the same time that Colombia is confronting the pandemic of the COVID, it's also confronting a possible pandemic of hunger, pandemic of poverty, pandemic of destruction of investment, pandemic of destruction of small and medium enterprises. Also, Colombia is a land of opportunities, since we have a very important thing, which is the growth of consumers. That middle class in Colombia has grown a lot. Also because our commitment with productivity and competitiveness. Actually, Colombia has moved up in the ladder of those rankings of competitiveness, international rankings. Also because of the idea of clean growth, which is included by President Duque in the reactivation plan. And also because of the leadership of President Duque on organizations, multilateral organizations such as Comunidad Andina, Pacific Alliance, PROSUR, even the presidency of the Assembly of IDB. Colombia is still a pro-private initiative country, a pro-business country, with a very special ally, the United States. Our first ally on investment, our first ally on exports. And that's why I'm calling your attention, because for us, you are one of the most powerful groups of investors from all around the world. It's important to say that Colombian exports to the US represent almost 30% of the total basket of exports in our country, with products very important, socially talking, like flowers, coffee, or fruits. An important issue on this same track is that Colombia has been a successful country when leading with the crisis of COVID, especially with the management of the crisis of COVID. And let me give you some facts. One of the lowest rates of sick people or deaf people in relation with the total population compared to any other country in the world is Colombia. Also, Colombia has an active strategy of mitigation with the economy, which includes, for example, solving liquidity difficulties for small and medium enterprises by new credit lines, giving financial solvency to those small and medium enterprises. Now Colombia is giving 90% of guarantee to credit loans for small and medium enterprises, especially those SMEs affected by COVID, extending dates of payments of taxes, accelerating the devolution of taxes, and more recently, giving direct subsidies to pay wage premiums and even monthly wages for certain periods of time. That means more, as I said before, than 170 measures to mitigate the impact. And that means around 9.6% of our GDP. This reality has been recognized by external actors, such as the IMF, the World Bank, who think that Colombia will be one of the economies that could endure in a better way the economic impact of COVID, explained in our orthodox macroeconomic policies, less decrease on growth compared with similar countries in Latin America, continuous arrival of foreign direct investment. Actually, according to the last figures that we have received, on May, between January and May, foreign direct investment in non-minerals have increased in Colombia more than 80%, even in the middle of the pandemic. Being conscious about the reduction of growth and also about the need to move up to grow again, we have a roadmap named Commitment for Colombia. It's our economic recovery strategy. It was presented by President Iván Duque in the launching of the new year of the Congress, the 20th of July, the day of our independence. Colombia's commitment, or commitment for Colombia, has 4 goals. The first one is to build an economic reactivation centered on clean growth. That means more than 27 projects on renewable energy, more than $5 billion on those projects, including very famous projects such as the Canal del Dique, or even the navigability of the Magdalena River, or even the implementation of the circular economy policy, or the implementation of the decree on the idea of firms more interested in other topics, B firms. Acting in favor of the most vulnerable are the second goal. And that means that we have created a social program and extended the impact of others. And that means that 30 million Colombians are receiving emergency rents from the Colombian government. What's the reason for that? To avoid hunger. Many other countries are suffering from hunger in the world because of COVID. Also, that means implementing subsidies on housing, more than 200,000 subsidies. The third goal is the rural Colombia and peace with legality. And that means accelerating the implementation of the multi-purpose cadastre, giving also financial reliefs to the local agro-farmers. But more important than that, accelerating the territorial plans, which were agreed in the peace process with the guerrilla, FARC. That means more than $2 billion of investment in very rural and poor areas of Colombia. And the final goal is to generate new employment. First, by new investment on accelerating roads, airports, ports, including airports of San Andres, Cartagena, the Coffee region, Southwest, ports like Puerto Antioquia, the metro of Bogota, and a program on tertiary roads to give access to our agro products to the world. That also means $1 billion to the orange economy, to the creative economy. Following this track in our sector, in the sector of trade, tourism, and industry, we are working on maybe 4 issues. One is how make Colombia to export more. And that means more diplomacy, trade diplomacy and investment diplomacy in the world. That means promoting the export of services, especially those services based on knowledge. That means promoting the idea of small and medium enterprises able to export. That means also to take advantage of public purchases in our FTAs. That also means a reshoring strategy from all around the world on investment coming to Colombia. And that means building regional value chains. The second track is how to strengthen our industrial sector, which implies competency to our inputs, improving e-commerce, developing a strategy in very particular sectors of the economy, which give more employment, more innovation, fashion, food, pharma, building materials, among others. The other track is how to work with the small and medium enterprises on entrepreneurship, how to move them from informality to formality, how to increase their productivity, how to do a revolution on funding, including crowdfunding, for example, fintech, and other possibilities. And the final track is tourism, including how to develop a certification on biosecurity, which can offer safe travel to different destinations in Colombia. An active promotion strategy for tourism nationally and internationally. Innovation and competitiveness in the sector, including how to build the idea of sustainable tourism. And finally, creating new incentives for this sector. However, I want to give a special importance and focus on our strategy for bringing foreign direct investment which is what we call efficient foreign direct investment to Colombia. How to attract it, how to import productivity, how to give more employment to our people, how to build global value chain access. And this strategy comes hand by hand on what we have created up to now, a pro-business strategy, a pro-private initiative, breaking the red tape in Colombia, creating a new law on growth. We call it a fiscal law, which has reduced between 10 to 15 percentage points the average income tax in Colombia, which has included the devolution of value-added tax when importing capital goods to allow modernization of our industry, which have included 0% of income tax for new entrepreneurs on the creative economy, also new entrepreneurs on agro products, which includes strategies like mega investment, how to attract investments of more than $300 million with the lowest income tax rate in Colombia and one of the lowest in Latin America. This investment strategy includes a reshoring strategy, how to attract outgoing companies. Includes also facilitation tools like a single window that we are creating with IDB for investors. Also, the idea of a red carpet strategy. Includes also tax and non-tax incentives like free trade zones. Another strategy that we call Plan Vallejo, mega investment incentives, e-commerce. And includes also regional and sectoral measures in tourism, in manufacturing, in certain sectors of the economy. There are numerous reasons why to put Colombia as a key destination for investment. Colombia has the lowest barriers to FID in Latin America. Also, Colombia has a lower restriction index than countries such as Canada or US, the 9th position among the top 10 FDI receiving developing economies. We continue have recognized the investment grade. We have created a center for the fourth industrial revolution to implement in Colombia the use of blockchain, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. Colombia has the third best workforce in the region and the first with the highest growth and training. We are a full member of OECD nowadays. And since this year and next year, Colombia will be the pro tempore president of Comunidad Andina, Pacific Alliance, PROSUR, and also the president of the Assembly of IDB. But we are also a land of opportunities on agriculture. We still have more than 30 million hectares to be cultivated on agro production. We have a growing sector on tourism by 2019, which has a lot of opportunities. Infrastructure projects, such as the one I have said, energy products. When we started the government, we started with 40 megawatts on non-conventional renewable energy. By the end of the government, we'll have more than 2,000. And by 2030, 50% of the production of energy in Colombia will be non-conventional renewable energy. Investments on IT with a new law, which allow us to attract more investment to Colombia. And US investors, such as you, have seen this. The US FDI in Colombia in the first 3 months of 2020 have increased more than 35%. And that's relevant. That means that the US investors believe in Colombia. And we are using more and more strategies to attract that investment, because that's a way also to generate employment, growth for our country, for our people. But I would say, as I said before, that maybe the most important tool that we have in the post-COVID era is resilience. This is not the first difficult situation in the life of Colombia. But we know how to deal with difficult situations. And Colombia is prepared for the new challenge, the post-COVID, based on the resilience, but also because we do believe in that we have many more opportunities. We were the rising star on growth in Latin America in 2019, and we will emerge as that after the pandemic. That's why I am inviting all of you to see Colombia as a land of opportunities, to see Colombia as an opportunity to invest in a country which has a lot of things to do in the next future. We wanted to do hand by hand with the private sector from Colombia and from all around the world. And we want to prove you that this country is a pro-business, a pro-private initiative country in which the government is almost like a partner on the private initiative. Thank you very much.